All right, in this video, we are going to cover how to accelerate your career in AI and deep tech during the pandemic using a remote AI or growth talentship. So if you're a student and you're trying to get your career going in the right direction, you're consumed by machine learning and want a helicopter view on what's happening, then stick around. If you have been in sales and marketing on the other side of the equation and want to understand how to use AI for business, stop selling solutions that make the world worse, and want to know how deep tech is solving world challenges like climate, health, industry transformation, or XYZ, then watch this video. If you are already a digital transformation exec or machine learning or data science master and are fascinated by the range of solutions that are coming out of the woodwork these days, like meeting entrepreneurs, talent, transforming industry, data architectures, then you're also in the right place. So first, we'll go through a few of the things that we're going to cover today, and then we'll jump right in. So this is the stuff we're going to do. We're going to talk about how the pandemic is changing career building. We'll talk about how there are new AI and deep tech opportunities out there for machine learning engineers and international business people. How to set a course when you're starting a career or shifting a career. How you can do this yourself. How you can do this with us through our AI and growth talentship. The features of the talentship, the benefits, and how to apply some QA. So this is going to be a good 30 to 40 minute video. It's going to cover a lot of material. So I hope that you'll bear with me, and let's go ahead and get started. So, and by the way, if you have friends that you think would find this interesting, please feel free to forward this to them. Help us get the word out so people can apply themselves and go to our careers page at globalventure.com/careers. By the way, if you're short on time, you can jump through the executive summary, which I'll share in a moment, who's this for, the timeline, what you'll be selling, what you'll be learning, quick and dirty benefits, and how to apply. But this deck has got about 5 times that number of slides because I really wanted to go through a bunch of detail. So again, let's go ahead and get started. So I call this the fire and ice slide. And the fact is that currently in the market, there are too many barriers to entry for people wanting to build an international career in tech. In Europe, talent is supposed to be mobile. I'm here in the Netherlands, and AI is supposed to be proliferating, but often seems concentrated at the top. Even before the pandemic, finding the right job at the right AI or deep tech company was really hard. Think of the big tech companies or B2C services like Spotify or Netflix that have dominated the career boards on LinkedIn and other places. The market was noisy, especially in data science, and there were just a few companies hiring 80% of the people. Well, that's changing. Computing power and the ability of machine learning to use smaller and smaller data sets to train and perform is changing the game. And that's happening literally in the last couple of years. We see more and more traditional companies using AI in their business operations and startups using AI in their growth ops, not to mention their products and solutions. The pandemic has made online networking for those that know how to do it much easier. So we want to see the up and coming AI and deep tech companies grow. From a definitions point of view, what I'm talking about is typically enterprise solutions, which have machine learning baked into them and take quite some time to develop and deploy. So lots of R&D costs, or something that's not necessarily a digital solution. Could be a smart materials, connected devices, health-related solutions, and so forth. Typically, these are technologies that are making a big impact on the way we live and the way we work. So we've put together this practical step-by-step approach that helps people that are interested in this field, both technical and non-technical, to build the insights and relationships to work in the AI and deep tech field, to put them in control of their future. So what is a talentship? This is sort of the executive summary slide. If you don't have time to check out anything else, this will give you in a nutshell. Talentships are basically like internships, but they're more applied and they're outward facing. They're packed of knowledge, and they're great for networking with senior executives or in domains of interest. The first category, the AI talentship, is for people in graduate or undergraduate programs. They have knowledge of data science or something related, and they generally are available for, say, 10 hours a week. And sometimes there may be some special projects that has to boost up to 12 or 15, but generally 10 hours is enough. The growth talentship, which is a second category, that's more of a professional track to learn about AI and business. We're talking more like 20 hours a week. That can go up to 40, and it's very possible for people in those roles to be using this as their primary income and their primary job. And you can expect within the first 2 to 4 months to begin landing some nice deals. So the pandemic has been a great leveler, and it's built a lot of new converts in the data science area due to the impact of vaccine creations, manufacturing, deployment. Policymakers have been using data science, pardon me, to figure out how to deploy resources and report and so forth. So everybody's thinking about data science these days. By giving data science and business talent hands-on AI strategy and international business experience, they can get more control over their own destiny. So I believe in the next 30 to 40 minutes, you'll learn some stuff that you can carry with you over the next 10 years and keep building a successful career in AI and deep technology. So again, get your coffee, get your tea, stick around, and we'll try to make this as helpful as possible to you, the future leaders of the AI and deep tech revolution. So before we jump in, I want to share a few case slides of what I'm talking about. So this is Synerise, an AI company out of Krakow that won the Microsoft Country Partner of the Year award in 2018. They are building an AI marketing cloud, an operating system for business. And in 2018, we helped them with their US go-to-market. We assembled a team that included business exec, technical grad student, and a couple of other folks more in growth consulting itself. And we used a growth 2.0 approach to help guide their market entry into the US. So Lynn, who had been working in financial services for about 20 years, so really experienced digital transformation exec, wanted to have a chance to work with some smaller, more nimble companies in the field of AI. She provided her industry knowledge, for example, how software is procured in the US versus in Europe, or at least giving that US perspective. She even involved some friends of hers that had been literally the people at Wells Fargo Bank helping to manage risk during supplier sourcing processes prior to contracting. That kind of information shed light on the sort of questions a Fortune 500 company in the US could ask of an AI company in FinServ. And she delivered a presentation to management from San Francisco remotely to the management team in Warsaw. Meanwhile, Praveen was a product manager working at Kohl's department store, a competitor to Walmart, with focus on data flows for SEO. And he'd gone back to I believe he went back to night school, it might have been a day program, to get a grad degree, to get his MBA, where he wanted to build up his business experience. But Praveen also wanted to see what AI companies or interesting technologies outside the US were doing. So he got involved. He knew some companies like Williams-Sonoma and eBay from his old network. And he also had a good sense of machine learning at the sort of the high level. But he was able to bring those networks and knowledge to bear to help Synerise to meet those companies and to have a better approach to their go-to-market. Another example, Algolytics. company out of Warsaw, has some of Central Europe's biggest AI deployments in telecom and logistics like DHL. They make fleets much more efficient using location intelligence data services. So Christian out of Chicago, he's an entrepreneurial type of guy, you know, a go-getter, creative thinker, and he wanted to move into the field of AI, big data, robotics, and do international business development, but doing it on his own was tough. So he applied for a position, a BDR position, quickly ascended from BDR into growth consultant, and was able to work with algolytics in the field of AI. And then he continued with a company called XTPL in quantum computing and microelectronics. XTPL is an incredible technology. They were opening their international office by having Christian involved. He'd already supported the algolytics project, so he had his chops. They were able to successfully land in the US with better visibility into the market and who to partner with. These examples and around 250 other examples of companies around Europe and Japan and the US a bit were great for people to engage and have a chance to build up their experience. And these were startups that were working with large companies. We helped them get contracts at companies like Essity, B of A, Bank of America, Apple, Fidelity, Disney, Dell, Intel, and Cisco, and other clients. So this is 2013, one of the first gatherings that we did. We've done these gatherings over the years, mostly by trying to invite great veteran companies like Adyen, Shazam, SoundCloud in that year, 2013, with senior executives like the SVP of Adobe or the head of IoT from Cisco and other examples I've shared in prior videos. Now, in this case, we were able to organize a gathering with about 60 people, and it was done actually with the help of some graduate students. So in this case, Bart was a Belgian national who'd been at McKinsey. He'd gone back for his MBA, and he was in grad school, and he decided that he wanted to help bridge the US and Europe tech ecosystems along with 4 or 5 of his classmates. And so we worked together to pull off that first event. And Bart, when he had graduated and he'd left the program, returned to Europe, stayed with McKinsey for some time, but then eventually moved over to Salesforce, where he is today. And at Salesforce, he's got a great role in industry solutions and is based here actually now in the Netherlands. As well, in 2013, out of the Erasmus University of Rotterdam, Rada helped out. So Rada was, at the time, she was the club president for women in leadership there, and she'd helped us to recruit some other students from the campus to do market analysis, to identify companies from Europe that we could invite to fly over to the US. And they were fantastic to work with. And today, quite some time later, she's working at Shell as a senior IT advisor. So none of these are trying to claim that, you know, by getting involved with our activities that we're necessarily getting them these jobs. That's not the point, but it's more the quality of the people that are doing these things and how alignment is around the ability to build some networks, some knowledge, and some skills that can help them along in their career. And the nature of the Talentship that we're building takes a lot of those concepts, and we're sort of trying to 2x that. So these are events that we're helping to bring people together, and so this combination of sort of international business development in the deep tech space, combined with these gatherings of executives and interesting companies, is one of the big benefits, I think, of being involved in this work that we do. So let me be clear about who this video is for. So it's particularly a video for you graduate students or undergrads that are studying data science. You're obsessed with machine learning, like I am, and you've got some or some related field, and you're wanting to see the landscape for yourself. You're wanting to understand AI from a business point of view and relate it to your career trajectory. This is also for business professionals, again, both young and veterans who have experience in various areas, but they haven't quite got the AI piece locked into their knowledge. So we want to help them so that they can sell better, or they can transform better, or they can be that bridge for AI transformation into their company. Finally, the veteran digital transformation and ML execs who want to share their knowledge, they want to meet talent, they want to meet good companies that are making an impact. And so those are generally the people that we're talking about. But of course, the top two there are the ones that we're trying to recruit for these great talentship programs that we're kicking off this next month. So the profile of these, we go into a lot more detail. So if you're interested, you can access the deck. You can just look through this. So, we try to be pretty specific about what types of traits or background things we've got there for the student profile. Likewise, for the business professionals, again, early career, mid-career, both are okay. But in general, you're wanting to advance your career and build upon some of the recent advancements in the application of AI to business. And again, this third category, that digital transformation exec, these folks are very important for the events that we do, and we find that they're great in terms of sharing knowledge, speaking, potentially with this program that we're going to be doing with the university and young professionals. So great. All of these groups, all of us want a lot of similar things, I'm guessing. So we want to work with A players that are hungry to learn about AI and operations and also products. We want to have an impactful career where what we do makes a positive impact on people and on the planet. We want to understand AI and deep tech enough to oversee the integration of AI somehow into our organization's business strategy. We like doing primary research and figuring things out for ourselves, and we want to understand what's changing and where the opportunities are. And we want the flexibility and the freedom to work from home or remotely these days. So who is this not for? Well, this is not for people that have jobs already that aren't very flexible, or they're a business person with no experience in data science and looking for a quick fix, not willing to do the work, or they're technical and they don't think they can learn anything from sales and marketing, and they sort of have built up their opinions already. So this is not the presentation or the video for you. So a little bit of background. So you guys, don't know me, and so I appreciate that I'm kind of coming in and making all these wild claims. Let me give a bit about my background. I'm Chris, the founding partner of Global VentureAdvisors, also known as globalventure.com. I've spent the last 10 years or so helping entrepreneurs to test and expand their international business, and a lot of the projects that we've worked on with teams typically of between 1 and 5 people, and projects that are between 4 to 6 months and 2 years. These are typically projects that are going from one geography, say Europe, to a part of the US, or vice versa, into a particular combination of countries in Europe, or perhaps some other part of the world. And I began my career in tech as the head of product development for a SaaS data company in California before I moved here to the Netherlands, where I live now, and I've lived for the last 10 years. We started when I was doing product management with the idea of building next generation bots. We almost went bankrupt, but we survived. And eventually we were able to work with some great clients like Salesforce, McKinsey, Novartis, Caterpillar, Google, Apple, and others. The reason I'm so convinced about the importance of blending technical and business knowledge is I've lived that myself. And since I began helping other founders about 10 years ago, I've been able to build out an approach called Growth 2.0, which is combining AI and business. The mission we have is to share that approach with people that can have a big impact on the development of this field, which is you. During the pandemic, we've had 2 physical gatherings, one in Antwerp, one about 3 months ago in the canals of Amsterdam. And we've done that because we believe that the human side of this business is super important. And so this is an example of the canal ride that we had with a bunch of fun execs and CEOs of AI startups, as well as some other people. And here is a example of the postcard that we walked around handing out to invite people to, based on this larger event that was going on sort of in parallel as we were preparing for that. So again, this is not just about the bits and bytes of automation and trying to sort of, do everything remotely. No, we definitely are planning to have more gatherings, and we look forward to bringing people together. So let's see. So the timeline. So this is sort of one of the more important slides. It gives you a feeling for how this program works. This is the process that we are using, and the basic idea is that we focus on a group of companies. We help each individual focus on a group of companies there at the beginning. On the upper portion of this slide, you've got modules and learning and some of it's video, some of it's in person, or rather live, but it's all can be done remotely. And then down below are more the deliverables, the types of things that would be done over the course of those 5 months. So you'll see on the far left, there's this focus on kind of competencies, setting things up, getting your online profile ready. And then there's moving into more landscape analysis and targeting and beginning to try to automate some of the outbound. Whereas in the first month, it's very manual, going out to like 50, 60 individuals via LinkedIn, trying to build out the scaffolding of the funnel, and using videos and so forth to share information with people. And meanwhile, you're also building out this business understanding of AI through some of the training and exercises that we do. Finally, as you move into the final stage, there's sort of interacting with speakers and doing more interaction discovery calls directly into the market, learning from peers, and really based on that, choosing your viable direction. So that's the idea of this, is to help you get super focused on niches that you care about, do the outreach, do the outbound, provide a lot of the scaffolding and support around that, so you've got interesting things to bring, and then you're building your network. Basically, that's going to be a very concentrated network of people that you'll take with you as you move forward in your career. So what are you actually selling? Like, what is it that we're doing here? So there's 2 things that you would be selling. One would be AI and deep tech solutions. These would be, for example, clients of ours. So it could be a deep learning service. So like we have a client out of Hungary. It could be a location intelligence service out of Poland, or some other AI or deep tech solution doing industry transformation, health, climate. And we can even, if you are interested, we can also provide you a commission on anything that is sold within that 6-month period. Let's see. Secondly, you can help to bring new AI and deep clients into the business. That is going to be selling something called market development discovery. So you're going to learn about best practices and tactics, what sorts of AI services or tools, growth tech architecture works, and then how to scale up things. Again, for this one, if you're interested, we can include a commission. And particularly for people that are doing the more growth Talentship, and this is really their job, then of course that is part and parcel of this program. So again, the steps are: you start with a group of companies in a niche that you care about. You go ahead and build out a funnel. You're using some video and other tools that we provide. You're continuing to develop a business understanding of AI. And then eventually you're moving into learning from your peers, learning from the speakers, and the video library that we have on growing with AI and other assets, what I'll talk about shortly. And hopefully you're able to use that to either choose a direction and call this something that was a way to build some relationships and some knowledge. Or if you're interested and you do well, then we would love to have you apply and be part of our business, either as a growth consultant or as a product engineer, helping us to build out tooling for this activity. Or if you want to work with one of the clients we have, or there's a particular company that you've been able to finesse through the work that we're doing together, then that's fantastic, because we want to see you successful. And even if you don't end up working with us, we know that we hopefully will have built a camaraderie and some mutual respect, and things will boomerang back over the years, both directions. So that's how we see this. It's a sort of a win for everyone. Now, we'll interview you to figure out your interests. We'll help you get your LinkedIn profile set up. We'll be sure you're looking sharp online. We'll help you get out to that first 50 or 60. Then you'll be automating things in that second month. I'll go back to the other slide. By the third month, you're going to have, by the third month, you're going to be, you'll be doing some analytics. You'll be assessing some companies. You'll then hopefully, if you're part of the growth thing, you'll be closing some deals by the time we finish this thing. So this is an approach that can be used throughout your career. It's really basic stuff, but it takes focus, and it's complicated if you don't know how to do the things at the right time, or have the right lists, or know how to communicate with a management person in one of these companies in that initial stage, and so forth. So again, this is something which we think can be very useful to graduate and undergraduate students. So how does this help you? Well, the pandemic has disrupted the normal career building path. And ironically, executives are more open to online interactions. However, everyone's doing it, so it's more noisy. So it's this sort of combination of factors that makes it really important to have a really strong approach and a way which we'll bring to you, and have a method to the madness of learning AI and international business. It also means that you can help deep tech companies grow, and deep tech companies, which are defined again as high R&D. They could be digital, lots of machine learning in them, or they could be physical, lots of investment and research that's gone into them. They're making an impact on the planet. And while you're helping them, you can be rewarded for performance. Afterwards, you can expect to earn 5 to 10K as a commission-based remote salesperson with us or a client of ours, or as a salaried bonused machine learning product engineer. You can also find jobs, as I said, through the corporate or deep tech networks that we have in roles like product management or business or venture capital, as you'll see some of the people that have been involved in the past have done. So step one, again, who to focus on. There's no shortage of great lists that we can share with you. If you care about the Dutch ecosystem, we can help identify some of the companies here. If you care about deep tech broadly across Europe, there are some fantastic programs and lists of great companies out there. We will bring you those lists or help you find them. There are global lists like CB Insights. They've got tons of lists of companies. All of these are going to be potentials, and of course, depending upon what your interests are to begin with. So you'll have a chance to learn some things like the 3 pillars of international business development, learning AI in business, and then networking and interacting with thought leaders. During the very first week that you get started, you'll be doing outbound into these domains that you care about in geographies that you're interested in. And this is going to have a practical impact on helping some great small companies that deserve help to find new markets and get new revenue and hire new people. It's going to help them grow. And as you know, you've got to have income to pay the bills. So you're also going to have a chance to learn some AI tools and data automation. There's a whole slew of applications. We can share some examples in some later slides. But like TensorFlow is a really easy thing to pick up and to try some things on and make some experimentation on. And then there are lots of AI services that are sort of compartmentalized microservices and so forth. So there's no shortage of things that you can, in 5 minutes or less, have access to, usually have a free usage of for a couple weeks, and can get your chops a little bit more. And that's something that's relevant, I think, both to people that have deep engineering and can actually build data life cycles, but also people that are in business that haven't figured this stuff out yet or had the time for it, even as users. So you're going to get access to a global ecosystem. We've got large industry we've interacted with. We've got lots of interesting scale-ups, even unicorns that we've had through some of the programs that we do. And lots of VCs as well. In fact, just recently we partnered with Tech Tour, which is, they're out of Sofia in Brussels, and we're part of the deep tech program that they had with 40 VCs in deep tech from across Europe. And these are all domains and networks that we are happy to try to bring and make useful for you. So I hope that you see after some of these slides that, by not doing too much, you can start with a group of companies in a niche, and you can begin to use LinkedIn to build a funnel. You can use videos to leverage those relationships, and you can be, meanwhile, building up your knowledge of AI in business. And then in that third step, you can really learn from your peers, the speakers that we have, and begin to choose your direction with us or across this community. And that will give you a great foundation upon which to build a career in AI, deep tech, and international business. So how long will it take to build that first funnel? Really, within the first week, you can get started. How long does it take to get the informal meetings? 7 to 14 days. We've also got some relationships we can bring to the table. I'm going to put a lot more Q&A at the end. I've got about 20 Q&A questions, but generally with these videos, it's good to have a little bit of Q&A sprinkled in here. And so I've included a couple things there. So now, option 1, you can be self-motivated. Anyway, you've gotten yourself where you are today, and I'm sure that you're spending time with your studies, with talking to your career counselors or friends, figuring out what the options are. But remember, data science as of a year ago, with most of 80%, 90% of it going into the same companies, that's breaking apart. So you can still have that focus of going to the Teslas, the TomToms, the Apples, the Googles, the Amazons of the world. But the nature of AI and machine learning has changed. It's getting to the point where traditional industry can do it too, as can small companies, especially companies that have that skill set already in their company and know how to use it for their growth or product capabilities. So again, getting into that niche where you can have a real big impact and move more quickly is something which is opening up, and those pathways are still relatively new. The other option that you have is you could do this through us, and we could work together on this Talentship. So that's sort of what I'm proposing here, is that you take a look at our Talentship, use our network, access our network access the knowledge that we've pulled together over the last decade in this field, learn from the peers that we bring together. So you've got a little cohort, and then at the end, move on and stay in touch, stay a part of the community. Once you've gone through anything with us, you'll always be invited to the events that we do, which are, 50 people, 100 people, very invite only, very small, but you'll be more than welcome to those. Once you've shown your commitment to the Talentship by doing the work, we will open up that network, and hopefully we'll have you doing some work together with us. So again, the AI Talentship is more for peer grads and undergrads, whereas the Growth Talentship is meant for business professionals. This presentation also tries to catch the digital transformation and ML execs that are important part of the equation, because in the end, we like when they come speak, we'd like to have them speak actually as part of this program. We've got a few people already committed for that, but we can make a video. You can take that video and it can be part of the sort of your personal branding, but you're also going to meet young talent, great companies that are making an impact. And so both for the students, the business professionals that are earlier in their career, mid-career, making a little change, that want to supplement their career opportunities via tech advancement in AI and deep tech, or these digital transformation execs, all of those are the focus for this deck. So more case studies. So as I mentioned, we've worked with more than 250 companies, either directly doing international business development or showcasing them. Typically, they're needing to fly over oceans, or they were, which in retrospect seems kind of silly, but that's how we did it. Let's see, and there's lots of networking over the last several years. And as the pandemic subsides, we're going to be pulling that network together, absolutely, and helping everyone recalibrate, rehumanize a bit. So again, lots of examples also of students that have been involved out of Erasmus University in that first year, 2013, where we had Berkeley and Erasmus working together to pull that thing off. 2014, we had some tech undergrads from École Polytechnique out of Paris. And every year we've been doing this stuff with a lot of the people out of Berkeley. And so there are lots of really interesting people that have chosen to do this. And I sort of didn't reflect on it until the last year or so. But these are examples of a lot of the companies we've worked with, and the big corporates aren't ones we've directly had as clients, but they've become clients of our clients through the work that we've done together. And then we've got these examples of some of the students. So, actually, let me, before I do that. So yeah, there's the idea of these various interesting companies, but then also this idea of the Tech Tour VC Club, which we provided the Growth Insights Lab for last month, and SAP was there and a couple of clients were there. And this is a great way of piggybacking on and teaming up and partnering with other groups to get more distribution, more awareness of companies. Lots of past retreats and growth meetups, actually back to 2013. I just stopped at 2018 because it got kind of to be too much there, but lots of retreats and lots of really nice people that have done this, that are the kinds of people that sign up for a talentship or an internship and put in the work and are a joy to work with, and then go off and do crazy things in their career. And they're still open people because we've done this great stuff together. So Siddharth is one example. He's now a managing director in the Bay Area there at Samsung Ventures. Lance Matthews has 2015. He's at Deutsche Telekom and their ventures group. Ross Gordon down there below, he's doing venture capital here in the Netherlands. You've got the high tech industry. So people like Kushal, who's worked at Uber and Apple and is just a really great, nice person. He's met with lots of the companies that we've sent over there, and just gives tons of ideas and just really enjoys the interaction. Sri Ram up there, who's now at Unity doing risk management and data. And he was involved for several years there between 2014 when he was still a student, and he just kept on participating and being involved, and it's just always been really responsive when we've asked him to say meet a company that's working in his domains. Harsha there, he's more on the marketing side, but again, was involved very much in some of those earlier mid-year stuff. Other examples from Berkeley, this would be like Priti on the left there. She's very much of a scientist. She actually was at Theranos for a number of years, and probably has some interesting stories to tell about that. Carl Najat is back in Switzerland. She's doing like corporate development, corporate transformation, digital transformation work. Baron, who's a product manager at Meta. So these are all people that have been through and helped out at some point. Again, 2014, École Polytechnique. These guys are all doing really interesting work now. I just looked at this, putting this deck together to see what kind of stuff they're doing. But, Thomas on the far left is getting his PhD in data science. Yves on the far right has a startup. Danae in the middle left there, she's working at the Ministry of Education. Looks like she's been doing some data science related stuff as well. And then, of course, that very first year where Erasmus stepped up, worked with Berkeley, and that was a fantastic thing. And these guys are all doing interesting work. Like Daniel's out there doing stuff with GRI, the Global Reporting Index, and Ben's been doing e-commerce and knows all sorts of things about that. And Dario's been running Xbox product marketing for quite a while. So I just show you these as examples. Also on the transformation leader side, where guys like Mark Tierlink, who was at SAP in their Intelligent Enterprises group, or Stephen Brobst, who's a Berkeley alum, 22 years at Teradata, living in Brussels right now, but did a presentation together with some of the companies we work with. Vivek at Shopify, Peter, I think he was at Amazon when he spoke. Bjorn, who's one of the top AI transformation guys working out of New York, helping entire banks like figure out all of the different use cases across the organization. Rodrigo there at the bottom, who's running or is involved with Amazon's carbon emissions investments, and he's been involved with kind of climate related stuff for a huge amount of time, and it's just great to see that he's there, and he's been able to come to some of our gatherings. And then also here with Yashesh, they're at Intel, I think like 18 years in the IoT space or something like that. So just really deep experienced people. Then you kind of cross different verticals and so forth. So lots of testimonials of people that have worked with us. We've got good quals. We've worked with lots of companies and helped them do real stuff. And lots of insights from CEOs and showcase companies that have come in and videos that we've done, and sort of starting from the left to the right there, starting in 2013, again, began doing these gatherings because it just made sense. You need to have some way of getting people relaxed and helping create executive support when there's an opportunity. I mean, if people, if people are your friend, it doesn't mean that they're going to get you the deal, but they're going to listen to you, they're going to advise you, and if you're lucky, they're going to make the right introductions and get you through the organization. So quick and dirty benefits: you will learn international business development and AI for business. You can build your network and meet thought leaders. You can understand how companies use AI to grow. That's becoming a thing. And it's very decoupled. It's very fragmented. And people need to orchestrate and select ways of making business process drive and make the applications serve people better. So that's a great thing. Learning best companies before other people do. You'll speed up companies that need to get their solutions out there to market, and even make a commission if something happens during the period of the talentship, just like a typical, salesperson would. You'll have a playbook that will help you control your career development. You can build an amazing SaaS, AI, or deep tech career. You can work with us. You can work with one of our clients. You can remain a part of this community and go do whatever you like. But hopefully this is something that you find interesting and will consider. So what are the features of this Talentship? So it's very self-directed, remote. You're going to be building a network in your interest areas. I'd say by the time you finish, if we automate things early, You'll have, 500-600 people in a domain you care about across any geography in the world. And those are people you're going to have met as a student, which is going to it's going to pay off because, even if you're not a student, you know how those things go. If you take the time to reach out, you're thoughtful, you bring quality information, some opportunities, people will appreciate it. So again, you're going to have these 3 steps to international business development and career development, which you can leverage yourself. We'll give you training. You'll learn AI for business. You'll have access to thought leaders. You'll have access to Slack and to tools. You will need to get a license to LinkedIn Navigator and some automation tooling. And that's something that people need to support for themselves. But we will bring you free access to our Grow with AI library, where you can learn things like ethics and sustainability in AI, or augmented versus automation, which is something Stephen presented on, or any of the other things that we've covered in there, like doing GDPR compliant lead gen, et cetera. So if you're doing this and put it to work, you can join our company or one of those where we have a relationship. You're going to learn AI microservices used for growth and for product development. So what are your options? Your options are basically, let's just, so these are some of the things that I just mentioned. Let's kind of jump through them. So, and this is the one I really like because it shows some of our team. It shows how we work with these companies on the left side, and it shows this potential army of amazing talent, which we've been doing in a lightweight manner the last few years, but now we're packaging it up and we're going to make it a real tight and efficient way for people to have an integrated sort of business technical experience and get them confident so they can be that bridge or that nexus within the organization where they work. Whether they come from the technical background or the business background, they'll kind of learn the other side, and it'll give them some great potential for them in their career. So again, options you have, there's AI Talentship, apply for that on our website, globalventure.com/careers. It's 10 hours a week. It's for grads and undergrads that have some exposure to machine learning, but a passion for it and are really convinced that they need to figure it out and have it somehow involved in their next few years. There's the Growth Talentship. Again, this is for folks that are more on the business side. Maybe they've done a little bit of sales. Maybe they've been an entrepreneur. They want to start their own company eventually, but they really feel that they've got to buck up on the AI for business. That's 20 to 40 hours or more per week. I mean, you can work as much as you like, and I think that you've seen already what we're selling. We're selling either services from our clients that are really amazing, complex, high R&D, complex sale type solutions, typically enterprisey. There's some long tail stuff too, like more SME self-serve stuff, but we for sure are going to be active in that large deal area. And the other thing I wanted to mention here was, for anyone that's watching this from a university, that's a current student somewhere, and they're like, oh, wow, that sounds kind of interesting. We always want to have an ambassador, someone who can be kind of our anchor at a new school. And then if you want, we can try to do something like this at your university. So again, this describes a bit more about that ambassador role if you're interested in helping us out with getting our chops and making this available to students. Since I think it's a fantastic way to supplement your career. I've got a couple of young, well, not young, but teenagers, older teenagers, 18 and 16. And so looking at college, all these questions about, giving them some of the experience that they need to get out there and start their careers, even though we've been in lockdown now for 2 years. And still, it's amazing some of the things you can do online if you've got the right structure and the right message for that. So how to apply, you can just jump over again to the website and answer. We've got 3 questions out of 4 you can answer. Really, we just want to hear from you, see your background. We're looking at having 5 seats on the AI Talentship and 5 on the growth. So And if you are needing information, let's see, you should be able to contact us. I think there's information on maybe the second page of the slide deck. So more information. So there's going to be other things in here. Again, in the future, this leads to things like, if you're on the business side, being a growth consultant, but for really interesting companies and being able to help them. You do not need to be able to build AI to sell AI, not at all. In fact, it's almost good to have sort of that UX point of view and really be driving it for the good of the customer, the good of the business, and then back into what is the technology going to deliver, rather than getting wrapped up in the technology itself. I'm telling you, this space is going to be so interesting as people on the business side begin to understand it and stop sort of feeling so awkward and not being able to work well with the data science teams because they're just having such different conversations. But you can also be a data engineer, product manager, tester. We have some roles here that you could do around that area, especially around computer vision and NLP are two really important areas for us. Getting into being an ops manager to help us as we scale out, or working with a client or working with a corporate. So there's all sorts of different angles where you can take this and tailor it to whatever you're trying to do. So again, quick and dirty, this deck is available. The script, I'm going to also make fully available. Everything I've been saying, probably a bit grammar lead out, but how should I decide whether to apply for the AI Talentship or the Growth Talentship? Well, it's pretty self-evident. I hope you've heard already that the AI Talentship is less weekly effort. It's like 10 to 12 hours a week. Candidates are going to be coming out of university. They're still in university. They've got, a year left, 2 years left. That's probably the most sweet spot in terms of both the grad and undergrad. And then the Growth Talentships, that's people that are out there in the world, young professionals in their 20s, in their 30s, trying to double down on this area and are kind of tired of running the gerbil wheel with copycat companies or solutions that aren't really making them feel good and sleeping well at night. So will someone do a review of our LinkedIn? Yeah, absolutely. We'll look at your LinkedIn, we'll look at your online presence, and we'll, from that sort of business perspective, we'll give you some suggestions. What kind of companies would we be connecting? Well, again, think of these CB Insight lists or Deal Room or Pitch Book or regional blogs or channels that we have, like the Tech Tour group. We have, the last couple of years, we've done, I think, about 100 to 150 deep tech companies per year or per conference that we've done. And those are down selected from like 1,000. And so they're picked by these 40 VCs. And so they're also companies we haven't really gone to. And we want to do that with this group. So what tools do I need? Again, a bunch of tools. You do need to cover the Navigator and automation tool yourself. That's going to run about $100, maybe $120 a month. So it's, but the upside are all the benefits that are going to come with this. You're going to get basically a networking template in a box, and we're going to help you to build that out. What is this video library we talk about? Well, we have this thing under construction. We've been doing lots of quote unquote evergreen video the last few years, and we're going to make that into kind of a database. What's the growth tech stack? You can look at this yourself, but it's sort of that crawl, walk, run concept, and eventually gets to this question, this fundamental question of what's your competitive niche, or how do you use AI to create some unique differentiation. What's a typical week? On the left-hand side, you see the typical like 3 buckets of time: 5 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours. That's 10 hours. You do those whenever you want. Half that time is spent with outbound or setting up automation to do outbound. So this project isn't really that long. So you're going to be spending a good deal of time either creating automation or understanding the email cadences, or figuring out what videos to send, or doing the outbound itself, and especially in that first month. By month 2, it should be automated. then you're going to be doing 3 hours, this chunk of time, landscape analysis, watching videos, doing some exercises, and then a couple of hours learning some new AI service or doing a special project. We can talk about that individually later, or doing team calls. And on the right side, the growth talentships will do all the stuff on the left, plus they'll do a lot more salesy stuff. So discovery calls and demos, follow-ups, review calls, updating the CRM, all that normal stuff that we know and love, that is essential for companies to grow. What training is provided? A lot of training. Is there a stipend to help cover the costs? This year, we don't have a stipend. We've tried it before, but it's just operationally, it's just too much overhead. And we would prefer to increase the commissions and make, more than make up for it on that side of things. The other slides as we finish up here. So let's see, what are we looking, hiring, we'll do a midway check-in. If you're interested in any of these areas like international business, AI for business, ML engineering for products, any of those areas or others, we can try to help you with that. And we're looking for people that have an ambition to earn money, because if you're hustling out there in this type of a program in international business, that's just a part of the equation. Now, if you're a machine learning engineer, you can come in and try it. It's sort of like you dip your toe in it, experience it, and never do it again. But you'll have some good stories for your VP of sales and partnerships and marketing when you're working at a company and telling them the stuff that you did. You need to be self-directed and be a good communicator. So the money side, again, as a commission sales exec, you can expect $4 to $10K a month. If you're an ML engineer, about the same in terms of salary and bonus based on your experience. Through the Talentship, if you ascend into a role within our business, you become a team lead, work as a growth consultant, do some ML engineering within our product area, or get to know the network, then we can make, or you want to get to know the network, we can make an introduction. If you want to go be a venture capitalist at a top VC, you're probably going to be in the 12K range or higher. If you're working in a corporate VC and work your way up, you could be going higher than that. So this career direction is going to be a very interesting one for everybody. So how do we define AI and ML? Well, it's your typical definitions. AI is more the concept of thinking like a human, and machine learning is more the math and the algorithms and making data supplementing applications and people using data that's got the power of compute. The last 3 years have changed. Where do you see opportunities? Well, I think there's this idea of the smaller and smaller data sets, the fact that compute has gone up. I think there's going to be some entirely new kinds of applications, Web 3.0, I don't know, with the blockchain, e-contracts, but I think that the idea of, it's not democratization, I think that's the wrong word, even though everybody uses that word. It's not a democratization of AI, but it's a proliferation, and it's pushing the ability to deploy even things like deep learning that are, out of reach as of 2 years ago, now are, with actually with Gravity out of Hungary, these guys could set up a retailer like Nordstrom's in Seattle with deep learning, and those guys may have, I'm sure they do have some data scientists, but they could have, not a full team there, and they could deploy this, and they could be competing with Amazon down the road. So what are special projects? Typically, those are going to be video related or product requirements related, gathering, or some other thing that the student finds interesting. There's questions about what kind of automation we'll do. What's the Grow with AI certificate? So automation's mainly sales and marketing, helping you be effective with your activities. And then this Grow with AI certificate. Yeah, the direction we want to go with this, we really want to make this like an online micro MBA with AI at the core. So I think that's a great idea for students of any kind that want to go take the traditional education route they're going down, but then have ways of supplementing. I think that's going to be a really important part for everybody going forward. I've taken a lot of classes with NVIDIA and Berkeley, and I just don't see any way around continuing to fresh those things up. So what to expect with working with us, knowledge sharing, best practices, commission, international partnerships, flexible hours, partner events, independence, a global network, learning AI and ML for business, working with top companies, and career growth. So definitions, there's other things in here. What do we consider digital transformation? What is growth 2.0? What's a chief revenue officer? What is data science, et cetera? You can read those later. So what we've covered today, how the pandemic has changed career building, particularly for current grads and undergrads that have worked so hard to get where they are. They've been so flexible, and now they want to accelerate into their career. So we've talked about that here. What new AI and deep tech opportunities there are for ML engineers and international business people. We've talked also about how to set a course when you're starting your career or shifting your career. How you can do this yourself, how you can do it with us through our AI and growth Talentship. We talked about the features of the Talentship, the benefits, how to apply, did some Q&A. And finally, there's my details. So thanks again for attending, listening to this, for sharing it with your friends, and helping us to build this out. I really believe this can be amazing. And I will be the person behind the scenes making sure it works, and hopefully bringing some great clients to the fore, and we can all go help them solve some of the world challenges that are out there and we need to tackle. Thanks for listening, and have a good rest of your day.